estamos. Mundo Batero, número 2, nuestro segundo programa. Acá estamos como siempre en Córdoba, Argentina. Andrés quien les habla. Este es nuestro número 2, como decía. Miren la tapa. Más que tapa, es una captura de la video nota. No se asusten que ya viene el video. Es una nota en video con Thomas Lang, ni nada más ni nada menos, desde Los Ángeles, por Skype, acá en Córdoba. En inglés, tratando de defenderme con el idioma que no uso mucho, que digamos, y subtitulándolo también para que pueda llegar esta nota a todas las personas que estén interesados en verla y no necesariamente tengan que saber inglés. Así que la nota fue hecha en diciembre del año pasado. La fui subtitulando manualmente y realmente tomó mucho más tiempo del que uno piensa, así que acá con mucha dedicación y esfuerzo y cariño sobre todo está este aporte. Espero que les guste y les haga bien a los bateristas de habla hispana, ¿por qué no? Así que antes de meternos en esta nota con Thomas, quiero agradecer a las marcas que nos apoyan para que esto sea posible. clickkick.tv, que es un dispositivo, en esa página donde lo van a poder encontrar, un dispositivo por el bombo que te suma un ataque, una presencia de una forma analógica. Tiene distribución nacional en Argentina, chequéenlo. También agradecer a Aura, Casa de Música de Villa María, de Manuel Arza, que este es un lugar, por supuesto, de formación musical, casa de música, talleres de instrumentos como batería, guitarra, bajo, teclado, canto. También hacen cursos específicos, asesoramiento y todo lo relacionado con el mundo de la música. Como siempre, ubicada en Villa María, Córdoba, con el amigo ahí Manuel Arza. Y también queremos decir que nos sigan en Mundo Batero, en los perfiles de redes sociales, Facebook, Instagram, bueno, el canal de YouTube donde subimos las notas, y también en el SoundCloud, que es soundcloud.com barra, y el usuario de Mundo Batero, lo voy a poner abajo el enlace. Esto es para donde nosotros subimos los programas en MP3 y tienen descarga gratuita para aquellas personas que lo quieren bajar y lo quieren ir escuchando mientras viajan o lo que sea. Es una forma útil de aprovechar el tiempo. Así que, bueno, y también quien les habla pueden encontrarme en las redes sociales. Cualquier duda, inquietud, sugerencia, cosa que les haya gustado o no de los programas, Andrés Walco, pueden encontrarme en Facebook, en Instagram. Y bueno, acá volviendo a la nota con el capo acá, Thomas Lang. Como ustedes podrán ver, este programa siempre tratamos de resaltar una frase de la nota. En este caso, la que está acá plasmada en la imagen: hacer lo que uno ama todos los días. Fue una frase que dice Thomas en la nota, donde venimos hablando, yo le vengo preguntando y le vengo haciendo notar diciéndole que se lo ve muy activo, haciendo muchas cosas, que se lo ve joven, que se lo ve realmente mucho más joven de lo que es, y él empieza a hacer una reflexión y contar ciertas cuestiones y termina definiendo con esta frase, para mí a lo Maradona ahí en el gol de la final con Inglaterra, termina dejándotela picando de una manera que a mí me quedó sonando mucho esa frase. Es una frase muy común, digamos, pero tiene un valor inmenso, me parece, en el mundo actual del drumming, donde hay mucha superficialidad. Es un mensaje muy lindo el que deja Thomas. Hacer lo que uno ama todos los días es lo que él hace, digamos, y te cuenta por qué y cómo. Y como siempre, esta entrevista con Thomas se le encuentra de muy buen humor, un tipo muy humilde, muy piola, más allá de sus sobradas capacidades musicales demostradas, como ya todos sabemos. Lo paseamos, digamos, por todos lados, en sus proyectos futuros, presentes. Cuenta un par de cosas ahí que creo que no habían salido, por lo menos hasta el momento de la nota, en el momento que le hicimos. Así que bueno, espero que disfruten, y lo dejamos ya con la video nota al grande, al único, al irrepetible Thomas Lang. Hey!
Ha, there you are.
Hey Thomas, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Well, everything well.
Very good. You've got a professional microphone set up there. That's amazing.
Yeah. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Cool. Thank you for joining me today. It
My
really
pleasure.
yeah, it really means a lot, man. So thank
Thank
you.
you very much. It's good to finally meet you in person, although it's via Skype, but still.
Yeah, someday in person.
Exactly, I hope so.
Yeah. You will notice that most of the questions are quite open so that you can answer them broadly and comfortably as you please.
Okay.
I know you came to play to Argentina multiple times over the past years. Are you by any chance familiar with some of our music or drumming?
Yes, I am, of course, very familiar with Argentinian folk music. Tango, of course. It's very
Yeah.
famous all over the world, and also with drumming. I have some friends who are Argentinian, who are drummers, and I've met quite a few drummers in Argentina or from Argentina over the years, and I think it's got a very active and interesting drum scene. And there's
Cool.
some great players. I've seen some really great drumming, and
Do
I love.
you do you
Yeah.
remember any name?
Um, yes. My friend from Mendoza,
Gustavo Meli.
Gustavo, of course. Yes,
Oh
exactly.
yeah, love that guy.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I was.
In fact, the first interview we had with this project was with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gustavo is fantastic. I've known him now for many years, probably at least 15 or more years, maybe 20 years.
Yes.
And yeah, he's a great drummer, really, really nice guy. And I also know, let me think, a female drummer, a fantastic female drummer.
Um.
Ah,
mm,
um, I
Female drummer. Yes.
I can't think of the name right now, but
No problem. No problem.
yeah. But anyways, yeah. I mean, there's quite a few players who are, wonderful musicians, and I always love to catch up with them when I'm in Argentina.
Great. And what can you tell us about your current and future projects in general?
Which project?
In general.
Oh, wow. Well, I do a lot of recording sessions all the time for different people.
Yeah.
Um, So they're not my projects, but they're projects I'm involved with because often I'm not only playing, but also I get involved with some of the production because a lot of these sessions are remote sessions, which I do from my studio here in Los Angeles. People send me the files, I work on them, and I send them back, which often includes not just drumming, but also getting involved with arrangements and production a little bit. And I do a lot of these all the time, sometimes up to 10 albums a month or so when I'm home.
Great.
Um, yeah, it's a lot. And my own projects, things that I'm involved with very much. Currently, I'm planning to record a solo album. I haven't done a solo album in many years. I've done many records under different project names like Humaflex or Stork or Spark 7, etc.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do just a Thomas Lang album, just myself under my own name, and I've just started writing this month.
Great.
And I am planning to do a pledge music campaign for the launch,
Cool.
and it's going to be a very like a 360 package. It's going to be a full-length CD with lots of fantastic musicians, guest musicians. It's going to be also a video performance product, and it's going to have instructional material in it too. So I'm breaking down all the parts that I'm playing, and there'll be play along tracks and so on. So it's a whole 360 package.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Please, please tell us about your drumming boot camps, as
Yes.
it's my understanding that you were a pioneer in that field. We will also love to hear about your educational website, thomaslangsdrumuniverse.com, as many folks may be interested in learning online from you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, let's start with the Thomas Lang Drumming Boot Camp. Um, I started this camp probably now 15 years ago, almost
Wow.
15 years ago, in 2004. Um, and I was the first to do an artist-hosted educational touring camp. It's never been done before. Up at that point now, of course, there are many people who are, doing the same thing and took my idea and ran with it, which is great. But I was the first.
I can see
Yeah,
that. You were
yeah,
a pioneer in that field.
yeah.
Totally.
Thank you, thank you. And it happened at the time when social media, at the time it was MySpace, first started popping up, and people contacted me on MySpace when they saw that I was touring in certain countries or locations, because I would post pictures from there, or I would post that I'm now in Sweden or whatever. And people contacted me on MySpace to take lessons with me on off days or on show days if I had some time. And this developed into small group lessons, which I organized whenever I had a few days off in hotels where I was staying at. And then I started organizing a little bit more and eventually created a website for it and gave it a name. And a couple of years later, it became the official Thomas Lang Drumming Bootcamp. And it's been a very inspiring, fun, and successful sort of sideline of what I do. I've hosted now 122 camps, I believe, all over the
Wow.
world over
Amazing.
the years. Yeah, many camps, and I've been everywhere on every continent.
Please come to South America, man.
I would love to. I would actually. I'm planning a camp in Mexico, which is in South America, but I would love to host one and come and maybe do some stuff in Argentina, of course.
Great.
Yeah. And it's still going on, and I'm planning more also this year. I host them, like I said, all over the world, but also in Los Angeles. And then there's another a camp which I host here in LA. It's called the Big Drum Bonanza. It happens every July,
Wow.
4th of July, Independence Day, weekend usually. And I invite also other guest teachers to the Big Drum Bonanza. The Thomas Lang Drumming Bootcamp is just myself teaching, usually
Okay.
between, it's either 3 days or 5 days, depending on how much time I have. And the Big Drum Bonanza is a whole week here in Los Angeles, and I invite my favorite players and artists and teachers who I think are the most inspiring and fun to hang out with for a week for the students. And you also asked about my online drum school, which is Thomas Lang's Drum Universe, which I started about just over a year ago. Last summer, it was, I believe, in August, I believe, 2016. And this is another way of me, sharing knowledge and information online, because even although I try to bring my camp to people all over the world, I can't always be everywhere. And this gives my students and fans a chance to see what I'm up to and be in contact with me, learn from me, get all the information from the lessons online and get some play along tracks, and also be in touch with me personally through the forum and share their playing with me. And it's a great and fun and inspiring way of me to teach people from all over the world who I couldn't reach in any other way.
Yeah, I can attest that it is
Yeah.
amazing, excellent.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I tried 1 year of
Yeah.
subscription
Yeah. Yeah,
working.
you're a great player. Fantastic. I remember watching your videos.
Wow. Thank you, man. Great. And what did you learn about equipment when you were going through the stages of research while developing your own signatures instruments such as cymbals, sticks, and drums? It is my understanding that those were long experimental years.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I learned um, more than I would have could have imagined from designing my own signature products. Of course, I knew a lot about drum equipment before, and I was always very interested in sort of the technical and the manufacturing side of things. But when you actually develop your own signature product, you really have to educate yourself and be educated by your partners and sponsors as to how different angles and cup size on a cymbal and the angle of the edge and shoulder, etc., the thickness, how they affect the sound. Same goes, of course, for stick construction or drum shell manufacturing. And I was very lucky in the past, and I still am, to have incredible sponsors who support my ideas and vision in regards to sound. So I was able to develop a whole series of cymbals with Meinl. They're called either Tom Specken. There's 2 packages of 3 cymbals each that were released in the early 2000s. I believe it was 2000 actually. And then over the years, I've added to this collection and designed a whole series of filter chinas, of signature hi-hats, 4 different hi-hats and bells, etc. So it's been a very, very interesting relationship, and I learned an incredible amount about cymbal construction, how thickness, size, bell size, the angle of the shoulder of the cymbal affects the sound. And the same goes for sticks. I mean, now, for example, I recently with my cymbal company, I released a new cymbal called the Thomas Lang Super Stack, which is the latest one. It's a stack cymbal. It was released about 6 months ago or so, maybe a little more. That's the newest addition to the collection, and I'm super excited about it and use it every day, love it. And it all, helps me express myself and get the exact same sounds, that I'm envisioning. And the same goes for my stick. I designed the stick also in the early 2000s with Vic Firth, and it's a very beefy stick. It's called the STL, Signature Thomas Lang stick. It's very beefy. It's very robust. It's quite heavy. Has an acorn-shaped tip, a very short taper. And it lasts forever. I love this stick.
Yeah, I tried one the last week with a friend. So heavy, man. How do you do for play with that?
Yeah, it's heavy and thick, but robust. It doesn't break. It's very reliable.
Yeah. It is between a 2B and a marching stick.
Yes, that's good. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
And what was your motivation to improve yourself day by day and innovate in drumming?
What was my motivation? It was always music. I had always a desire to play all the styles of music. It's throughout all genres, and I wanted to be able to play freely without any stylistic or technical limitations. So that motivated me to explore, even the most obscure techniques, or come up with new ways of playing the drums and sort of invent new techniques and play something that I haven't heard before. Sort of the creative aspect of making music and creating music was always what motivated me and was always a driving force behind my sort of exploration and practicing. I just wanted to have the total freedom to play whatever I wanted, you know, and that requires a lot of research and practicing and exploring and playing many different genres of music. And of course, my creative sort of urge and need to play something that I haven't heard before meant that I had to create things that didn't exist before. You know, this is what turns me on the most about music, when I hear something that I haven't heard before, because most of the things we hear are, you know, things that have been around for decades and decades, and there's not much difference between, you know, a rock band today and a rock band 25, 30 years ago. And, you know, that kind of very standard style of playing and approach to playing, I find beautiful and charming, but not the most creative. And so I was always striving and looking for new and creative ways to play the drums. And that was always my motivation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How much time do you dedicate to drumming and music in a normal day?
Well, I have to differentiate a little bit between being on the road and touring and being at home. When I'm touring, there is a lot of time spent traveling, of course, and you know, getting from A to B and setting up or sound checking and then playing. So although it all culminates at the evening show, which is maybe 2 hours long, it's not so much time spent on actively making music or playing music. It's much more time when I'm at home, because at home I have a full at least 8 to 10 hour day where I do nothing but either write music or produce music or record music or practice or learn new material and so on. So it would, you know, when I'm home, it's at least 10 hours a day that I'm very actively involved in making music in all areas and aspects of it. And of course, if possible, I also get some practice time in. On the road, maybe it's 3 to 4 hours maximum. So less than half of it when I'm on the road, and it's a full day every day when I'm at home.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And since you're a great innovator, how do you feel about today's drumming and general music in terms of originality?
Oh, originality.
Yeah.
Well, like I just said before, there's very little difference between, you know, a standard rock band now, 2017, and from 1970. You know, there's a lot of bands who are on a real retro kind of wave, which is fantastic. You know, a lot of bands try to sound like Led Zeppelin or Deep Purple or, you know, classic rock bands, and that's great. And I love that style of music, and I'm totally into it. But there's very little innovation in that. So in music in general, I find there's very little innovation, considering how much what incredible means we have today to be innovative in terms of technology and instruments and so on, and education and accessibility of education. I think, considering how easy it is to be inspired today and to get information, I think there's very little originality, especially in pop music. In other, you know, in some styles like electronic music, there's a lot of innovation and there's some interesting things happening, but also, you know, it's very, very confined to very small scenes. And drumming in general, or specifically, same thing. There's very few drummers who do something that's radically new and different. And most there are three, or I would say there's four types of drummers today. There's the R&B gospel chops kind of drummer. There's a metal drummer. There's a jazz drummer, and then there's everything else, like middle of the road pop rock kind of studio playing, you know,
all around.
Yeah, but more like standard, pop rock kind of drummer,
Mm-hmm.
And there's very little crossover between these styles. A gospel chops guy has no, like double bass skills. A
Mm-hmm.
jazz guy has no, like double bass skills or like linear, not amazing linear skills necessarily.
Yeah.
Uh, and metal guys, very little kind of funk R&B type of influence, and so on. So, and then the all around studio guys do everything a little bit, but it's kind of very standard, conventional kind of vanilla kind of drumming,
Yeah.
So I find it's sort of four big chunks of players or styles of players with very little originality in each style. I mean, what's happening in the world of gospel chops and linear drumming, that style,
Yeah.
R&B playing and soul gospel playing is nothing new. Not only because we've now all heard it for 10, 15 years, but also because Vinnie Colaiuta played all that stuff in 1974 and Dennis Chambers in 1980. You know what I mean? It's kind of old. And in metal, I also find that there's very little innovation. Everybody sounds the same.
Because
Um,
triggers and playing fast, all that.
yes, exactly. I think a lot of extreme metal has completely lost the groove element, and it's very fast and it's all about speed, which is fine, but doesn't really touch me personally very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it boring after a while. But that's me personally.
Yeah.
It's also very, very rare that I see anybody who's innovative in that world, not just fast, but innovative and creative. I see none of that.
Yeah.
Um, so in general, I think it's surprisingly unoriginal, the world of drumming in general.
Yes, I see innovation like is in the back,
Yes,
actually.
yes. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there were real amazing innovators in the past, and people who really stand out with a personal style and personality, and also new techniques. Whether you look at, Steve Gadd as an example, or Buddy Rich,
Yeah.
or you look at Stuart Copeland, or Billy Cobham, or John Bonham. These are all players who really made a mark and left a long-lasting impression because they were innovative and creative and
Yeah.
had personality and so on. And because of technology, in a way, you hear very little of that today. You hear a lot of the same drum sounds on records, the same BFD samples and sound replacement and quantizing, and very little of the true personality of the player is left on the recording.